Welcome back, guys. We are Bohemian Gents. I'm Caesar. This is
I'm
Brian. And today we're going to be reviewing Jungle Cruise. Go for it, man.
So, I will have to say, this movie had me rolling the entire time.
Okay.
This movie was so funny. I really enjoyed it. It was just a good time the entire time.
Agreed.
I really enjoyed this movie. What'd you think about it?
I agree. I am a sucker for dad jokes.
Yeah.
It was full of puns.
Mm-hmm.
I just could not get enough of it. It's, I think, by far the most entertaining movie of the year so far, and I don't have anything that's kind of scheduled to come out that might beat it out for most entertaining. I think we'll have some more action packed and things like that, but just overall entertaining. Yeah, this movie definitely is up there in terms of that, in terms of that overall factor. In terms of that, any standouts? Anything that you kind of feel like we need to talk about?
Not anything that I don't think we won't review or touch on our rating.
Okay, I agree.
It's just overall, I'm like really excited about doing the review to this movie. I think like 50% in, even sooner, I already knew this might be my favorite movie that we've reviewed so far.
And I want to point out, I do feel like you see this movie a lot higher than I do. And I think we'll kind of see that throughout this whole process.
Yeah.
I do love this movie.
Yeah.
But I don't think I hold it in as high esteem as you do.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of kick it off here with the storyline. And I'll give my score off the top. I give it a 7. It's a very solid storyline. I love how it's an original story. I don't think I've seen anything like it in terms of the overall concept. I know they've done like the Elixir of Life and things like that, but I think their take within that was pretty original. So I like that aspect of it. I really like how in that kind of opening intro, when he's doing the Jungle Cruise, it's the exact same feel as if you're on that ride at Disneyland. Yeah. The jokes, the puns, I cannot stop laughing when the like Indian the like tribal people come out and they like shoot the boat and he like looks at them and he's like, hey, too close. Yeah. Like it's like you can tell it's all an act. Yeah. And then the waterfall, like he's
the backside.
He calls it like the ninth wonder of the world, the backside of the water. It's pretty, so I find it thoroughly entertaining. Yeah. Solid 7. I don't know if I've given another movie a 7 before in terms of the overall storyline. I think this might be I might have given Black Widow a 7 as well, but it's up there in terms of storyline. So I definitely do like it. Where is it for you?
For me, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. The storyline, in large part, was cohesive, made sense. Everything intertwined. It fit nicely in a box. The only issue that this made me like think about and why it's not a 9 or a 10 is the whole storyline about The Rock being Spanish. That whole storyline kind of like brought it down for me because, dude, you're not Spanish. You had one word in the movie, and it was "corale," and he says "corale." Like, you're working on this movie for months, and you can't even get the time to practice one word. So that whole introduction of the Spanish side of the story, it brought it down a little for me. But overall, I still love the storyline. I love the Lillian McGregor search for the tree of life, and I love like they introduced like a society of science, and that they played on the whole like men and women not supposed to be in the same group.
It's in the like 1930s,
1916.
It's right around the First World War.
The First Great War, yeah. So the story is pretty high for me. It had a couple things, but that's kind of me nitpicking, which is what we do here. We review the movies and we tell the truth. So I give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
And since I've kind of already touched on the character of like The Rock,
Yeah, go for it.
I loved Lily. I loved the spontaneous, the trouble she got into. It was innocent. She wasn't.
He's in love with Emily Blunt.
She wasn't a damsel in distress. She wasn't making dumb mistakes that like really annoyed you. Like, why are you doing that? Or she had spunk. I liked her brother McGregor. He was funny without having to try to be funny. I loved Frank. I loved his dad jokes. The Rock and Emily Blunt had amazing chemistry. So Lily and Frank had amazing chemistry. And I really liked the people in the movie. I loved Prince Joachim.
Oh yeah.
Hilarious. I love seeing the maniacal side of him. Like when he's killing the bees and he kills the people because they know his name. It was just a good set of characters and how they played this movie. What did you think about it?
No, I'm kind of right up there. I'm just a tad lower than you at 7 with the characters. But yeah, I do think the chemistry that they have on that set showed. I think they thoroughly enjoyed filming that movie.
Making that movie, all of them together.
Yeah, no, seriously. And if I'm not mistaken, that movie's been done for a while. Yeah. Disney was kind of holding on to it. Even before the pandemic, I think they were kind of holding on to it for a little bit. But no, yeah, I definitely like the overall dynamic. I really can't really add anything in terms of that. Even, I kind of like that dual antagonist with Prince Joachim and then the Spanish guy, Aguirre. Yeah, where he's kind of, they're on the same side, but they also have their own agendas.
Yeah.
So I definitely like the overall dynamic, the characters. You get enough of each character to understand them, and they don't dwell on any one character too long. So yeah, I definitely do give a 7 out of 10 on the characters for me. Soundtrack. This is where I was kind of just like a good soundtrack. I give it a 5 out of 10 on the soundtrack. Nothing really stood out to me for it. I don't know about you or how you feel about the soundtrack.
So I will say I love Metallica. I love that they were playing Nothing Else Matters. So you get the opening like credit into like the Walt Disney universe, and they're playing it. But even throughout the movie, they have different parts of it being played by different instruments and in different styles. In one part you have like a violin, the other part is like the original song. You have it playing in a choir. Whenever there's like an action sequence or a battle, they brought you up, they brought you down. When people were getting emotional and lovey-dovey, it was setting the tone. And plus it's Metallica.
You know, I did not catch that. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I did not catch that. So I guess it's suiting that I gave it a 5. I don't know how I didn't catch that. But yeah, I mean, if I had noticed that definitely would have brought it up a little bit more. So maybe I just kind of didn't pay enough attention to the soundtrack. But yeah.
If they would have played a few other songs, my score would have gone higher than the 8 that I'm giving it. But I kind of like that they didn't oversaturate it because it wasn't a movie that needed a 10 to 20 song soundtrack. They pretty much used like 1 or 2 songs and played it in different methods, and it just fit the movie perfectly.
Yeah, no, for sure. I when you kind of bring that up, I mean, I definitely need to go back and rewatch it, pay more attention to that, and that could bump up that score. What about the cinematography? Where does that land for you?
It's a nicely shot movie. I love that they really did shoot on water for some of the scenes. There was a little too much on the CGI. I think they relied on it a little too much for scenes that they could have gone with practical effects, with like demolitions and buildings and stuff. So I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. Again, shot beautifully. I love the colors and the sunset, and like going through the jungle, going through the river. Again, beautiful shots during like the little fight scenes and the swinging and the back and forth. So I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. What'd you think about it?
In terms of cinematography, I agree in terms of what you said, and that actually drops the score more for me. I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. I do CGI was okay. I thought they could have. I mean, it's live action, so I thought they could have made the CGI a little bit more live action. The Spanish people, the Aguirre and his henchmen, like the B-Man, they come off as animated to me. They don't really have a real human-like feeling to them. And then, yeah, I mean, obviously the boat shots and all that are beautiful. But I don't really think of anything that goes beyond that. That's my cat you guys are hearing. Side note. But yeah, I mean, I'd give it a 5. Nothing really to sit there and dwell on. But decently shot.
I think a perfect example of like why it gets a 7 out of 10, like it's on the borderline of being like really good, but like the scene when they realize that the dagger is telling you like you gotta get underneath the water, but by getting underneath it just means sinking it. You get this beautiful like pyramid-esque temple, and it's amazing. It's huge, it's everywhere, it's dynamic. But then once you get inside and you look at this tree that's supposed to be the tree of life, the tree of eternity, it's super underwhelming, super dark.
Yeah.
Like, you did really good on a lot of the scenes, but a lot of like the aspect, like the big moments, kind of underwhelming or very heavy CGI, which is why I give it that 7.
No, I agree. I think that kind of does tie back into the storyline a little bit with how the cinematography was done. I think it did kind of bring down the story down slightly on there for me, which is why I gave it a 7. But no, yeah, I mean, like I said, nothing too big to complain on. Obviously, we're here to nitpick.
Yeah.
So we're gonna sit here and find bad things within it, but you're not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, like that was terrible." Or it's like,
no, I really liked the movie.
I think I'm a little more practical with my scoring. So my 5 is like, hey, this is good. Like it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, kind of the last kind of topic here is the significance of the film. I think this is where we're going to spend the most time, really. I don't know how aware you are of this, but this is supposed to be their next Pirates of the Caribbean. They are using this as a stepping stone into their next universe, kind of Pirates of the Caribbean-esque with the mythical aspects and things like that. So that's where I'm holding the significance of it. And I'm giving it a 6. I think it did its job in terms of setting up a new universe, but having the story feel complete. And I am going to tie it a lot back to Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. At the end of that movie, they kind of set it up, okay, adventure's out there, but this adventure is over. Yeah. And they do a good job of moving on from that in the other Pirates of the Caribbean movie. And obviously we saw how good of the job they did with this movie. So I think they'll be able to do that with this franchise. I'm just curious into what aspect they're going to go. Because obviously I'm assuming that Frank is mortal now because of the potion that he took at the end to come back to life.
To get rid of the curse.
How good of a pun is that? The rock turns into a rock. Spoiler. But yeah, I mean, so that's kind of where I'm seeing it. Is I'm giving it a 6 because I don't know where they're gonna go with it, and I think that's part of the mystery. But I'm seeing that in kind of a negative light because I don't know where they're gonna go with this. I've always thought of Jungle Cruise as just a Disney ride, so I don't know a great Disney ride, but I don't know where they're gonna go with this. But I think it did its job. It's enticed people in where if they do a Jungle Cruise 2, people are gonna go watch it, and it's just, I mean, as long as they keep knocking them out of the park like they did with the Pirates, people are going to continue to flock back and back and back, and you'll be able to get your franchise out of it. And I think they did that, which is why I'm giving it a 6. Yeah. Where are you in terms of the significance?
So I have 2 scores in mind, and it's for 2 different reasons. I didn't know that they were going to try to use this as a stepping stone for a new franchise. But even on the drive here, I was thinking like, we already have the Society of Scientists, and we have Lillian McGregor, who come from this family line of adventurers. So I was thinking, again, not knowing that this is what they might have in plan, but I was like, this movie with bringing Frank back to life and getting him away from the river and breaking the curse, like he can now leave.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it set up a significant future storyline where they could potentially be going through Lily's deceased father's belongings.
Okay.
And they find like a letter like, oh, there's this weapon or this treasure in another part of the world, and they could set up a new adventure for them. And now Frank can come. So I thought that was very big, and that's why I gave my significance a 7. But on the other aspect of it, I was like, if they are setting up this world of adventure and potion and warriors, and they wouldn't bring Frank and Lily back, I thought the significance would be lower. So I'm just a little like wavy on my score because I don't know which route they're going to go. I hope they bring them back because I don't see myself really going back to see a part 2 if they're not in it.
I agree with that, and I don't know. I don't know if they have anything in production yet. I just know from what I've read, it was supposed to be that. But like I said at the beginning, they filmed this movie a while back. It might be 2 to 3 years ago that they filmed this movie. So it's definitely been on the shelves for a little bit. I don't know what Emily Blunt has going on in her acting career, but I do follow The Rock on media, and it seems like he has his plate full.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's going to find the space for another one. And so I don't know what they're going to do with that. So that's kind of why kind of all ties into a 6. I didn't really look at it from your perspective, or for what they had built already within that film by itself, because I don't think that's the route they're going to go with the society and things like that. I thought that was a great component within the film. I just don't think that's where they're going to build off of. So, yeah, kind of 6. I kind of sit firmly at a 6. Do you have a number that you can give it for now?
I'm going to give it a 7, and it's because I tie it back to the end where Lily sends McGregor to tell the society kind of like kiss my butt. Like, because they introduced the fact that she's now a professor at Cambridge. So I'm kind of getting like an Indiana Jones vibe, where she's going to be a tenured professor and like artifacts.
Different adventures.
And again, sets her up for different adventures, hopefully. Which is why I'm going to leave it the significance at a 7.
Okay, for sure. Anything within the movie that kind of stands out? Any scenes?
It was just a good movie overall. Like, I really like the chases. I really like the dialogue between Joaquin and McGregor. And just the chemistry that all the characters had together was just very relevant and prevalent throughout the entire movie. So it's not just one scene that stood out. It was just very good throughout the entire movie.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, we can sit here and nitpick the movie for hours, but no, yeah, I do think that it's a overall pretty strong movie. My overall score comes out to a 30 out of 50. This makes it my second highest rated movie that we've done. It still sits behind Black Widow, which got a 31. This movie for you is 38.
38, yeah.
Okay, so this is...
So far, it's the best movie I've seen all year that I can remember that just we're doing a review on, or that I just remember all year. Yeah. I'm not going to qualify Zack Snyder's Justice League as a this year movie.
Agreed.
So yeah, honestly, this is the best movie, the funnest movie I've seen all year. If someone was like, hey, Brian, you want to go watch it right now? Yes, I'll go. Let's go. What time is it showing? It was just a fun movie. I just really enjoyed it.
So you would say by far this is the top movie of the year?
The best movie of the year so far. It's just every box that you want in a movie, it just got checked. You want to have a good time? Check. You want some romantic interest? Check. You want jokes? Check. You want action sequences? Check. You want to see some crazy German kill people and get killed? Check. It had everything.
No, yeah, honestly, yeah. It's a pretty well constructed movie. I think I am the stricter of the graders, but I don't think my 30 is a bad score. I think that's honestly a really high score compared to what we've seen this year and what we've had in the past and just overall movies and things like that.
Yeah.
I definitely would watch this movie again without thinking about it. It's funny, it's entertaining. Like I said, I'm a sucker for dad jokes, so
Yeah.
I think it's a very similar vibe with the review that we did for Suicide Squad. Go watch that if you haven't. Where the jokes just hit over and over again.
Yeah.
These jokes will be funny the 10th time
Yeah.
when you hear them,
Yeah.
because it's how they're delivered, not what's being delivered.
Yeah.
That kind of makes them entertaining. But no, yeah, I do think this movie will go down as one of the top movies of 2021. I don't really have any negative things to say about the movie. When we're talking about overall, we're like, hey, you might be here, you might be that. I like, might be a little controversial, I guess we want to go there, how McGregor was, I think, the first openly gay character in a Disney movie. And I like how they didn't really like dwell on it.
Yeah.
It comes up. The Rock kind of gives his some Smitty remark about it, and they move on from it.
Yeah.
And I think that's good in terms of the overall and what Disney's trying to do, the acceptance and all that great stuff. So I like how they did that, and they're tying it in. I did think McGregor was funny.
Yeah.
I loved. Oh my lord, I'm gonna hate myself for not remembering the name of the tiger.
Oh, La Próxima.
La Próxima, that's right.
Yeah.
I knew something in Spanish. La Próxima, in case for those who don't know, Spanish for the next one.
The next one.
They kind of explained that with how many he's had. But I from the moment that cat walked into the bar, I said that's his cat. I knew it. I just knew it. Especially when it bit his arm.
Yeah.
I was like, that's his cat. I instantly knew it.
A little recap. If you're not going to go watch the movie, we'll give you a quick synopsis. The Rock went to Brazil 400 years ago looking for the Tree of Life with conquistadors of Spain. There was some betrayal. He's stuck on the island. He can't leave the river. And he's been there for over 400 years. Every, 10, 20 years maybe, it seemed like, he would find a stray cat that needed some help, and he will name it the next one, La Próxima. And he had a cat with him. It didn't matter what kind of cat, but he just always had a companion because he didn't want to get attached to real people. And I think that's something that they show in the movie, but don't hit you over the head with it because they want to give the viewers more credit. But yeah, so he's been alone for 400 years and only had these cats. But now he has Lillian McGregor, which might be another reason I like the movie. Like, it was not a redemption story because he didn't have anything to redeem. He was always a good person. But it gave him hope in life. He was ready to end it, and he's ready to step out into the world and adventure. So it was a good movie.
No, yeah, definitely agree that. That kind of wraps it up for me. Any final thoughts for you?
Go watch it if you haven't. Sorry that we spoiled some stuff. But
you'll still enjoy the movie.
Yeah. Let us know in the comment if you like this movie. This is your favorite movie of the year so far. What you would change and what part you really love. Just leave it in the comment. We'll reply.
For sure, yeah. So, like and subscribe, guys, and we'll be back soon with another video.
Deuces.
See ya.